Thank you, Bill. You did good with the change. Change is good. We always say that change is good. We don't say that, do we, most of the time?
Especially when you don't have a choice.
Well, you had a choice. You were in the meeting when we did all this. So. No, change is good. I mean, we're laughing about that, but you know, it might as well be good because it happens. Everything is about change. If you don't like the way things are, just wait because it will change. I had a mentor tell me that. So let's take these thoughts about what's going on inside of us into meditation for a few moments. So just rest and be with this presence that lives and moves and has being in us. So in this moment, close your outer eyes if you're comfortable with that, or a half gaze, and just settle into your seat. Let the chair fully support your body, the weight of your body. Begin to still your body even more by just totally relaxing. Be like a mountain. Let that be a elegant, regal pose that you do for this meditation, so that you're aware of your body. You're choosing to not to move it for just a few moments, but you're aware that this body is here. As you begin to breathe, take a deep breath in. And then fully release. Keep your body posture the same. Your head erect, an alert posture just for these few moments of meditation. Another deep breath in. And then release slowly and fully. One more deep breath in. And as you relax, your shoulders drop. Feel the weight of your arms and your hands resting on your thighs or in your lap. And just be. Just be. And as we let go of the thoughts that go through our mind, we don't try to judge them or stop them. We just let them pass. And turn your awareness to your body-mind connection. See if you can sense that your body and your mind are here right now together. No thoughts, just an awareness and a connection, mind-body connection. We go throughout our day all too often and our bodies and our minds are not connected. We're not in sync. Be in sync for just a few moments. If you need to be reminded, just return back to the breath. Return to the breath. Return to your breath. Now, as we begin the meditation even deeper, find that place within you where you intuitively know the presence of the divine that you are. Where is that centered in your body? Where is this divine presence that we talk about all the time? Where is your I am? Deep breaths in and relax, exhale fully. Find that place where you intuitively know who you are. Rest in that place for just a few moments as we go into the silence. I'll watch the time. Just be peace, be still, and know that I am in the silence. In the silence. Stay in this sacred space and see if you can go deeper still, deeper into this presence of who you are, the Christ consciousness that you are, the Buddha nature that you are. Go deeper. Go deeper. As we release and let go, to just be in these sacred moments and feel the peace that comes when we go within. For no matter the chaos on the outer, when we stop long enough to just be still, to still our mind and body, to connect our heart, mind, and body together, there is only peace. Feel the peace right now that you are. By taking a deep breath in, hold this sacred space. Surrounded by peace, enmeshed in peace, immersed in peace. There is only peace. Quiet, calm, still, undisturbed. There is only peace. Now I invite you to take a deep breath in and relax and fully release that breath. And as you do, you can begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, roll your shoulders, and return your awareness back to this physical place here in this room. I got this a little too close, or I need to quit breathing. So Bill's right. There's not much more I can say about the topic today. Refuse to coerce and refuse to be coerced. Two principles from Martha Creek's book, and yet they're parallel paths, if you will. Because, like Bill says, none of us have ever done that, right? Never have been coerced or coerced anybody. And it hit me, why are we doing that? Why are we looking at that? Why did Martha Creek write about this? Why are we looking at it? Well, the title of the book, the subtitle of the book says it all. It says it's about experience your higher self and live in wholeness. When we get caught in these patterns that we don't look at ourselves, when we don't look at what our actions and our choices are, we're not living authentically. And luckily, in Unity, we get to talk about that. We don't have to kind of ignore it and just let it stay in our trap, if you will. So, but I would, that's enough said right there, probably. But I will tell you one more thing. I'm going to spend the time that we have this morning together to coerce you for one thing, to believe one thing. Dogs are God's way of apologizing for your relatives. Now, the cat people may have a little issue with that. So, see, that's the problem when you get in, you're going to coerce somebody into what you believe. That suits me just, but I can buy that. But the people in here that are cat lovers might have a little different issue about that, right? Dogs are God's way of apologizing for your relatives. We did a play in Nashville at the Unity Church in Nashville, a skit, if you will, and God was the character of God was dog. God spelled backwards, D-O-G. So dogs and God have always been right up next to each other. So have you ever felt, in your history, have you ever felt that you were coerced into believing something or taking action or doing something that were against your values? Yeah. I see a lot of heads nodding. Many of us have. And all too often other people will attempt to move us from our true selves. Family, of course, clergy, or as we used to call them in the church I grew up, preachers and ministers, teachers, professors that we had, friends, and part of that's growing up. Part of it, no question, family members particularly. But if we keep denying our true selves, then how do we figure out who we are? There's a Jewish saying that I remembered as I was preparing for this. It says, "If I am not for me, who will be for me? And when I am for myself alone, what am I? And if not now, when?" So it's important to recognize if we're being coerced, and sometimes in the middle of our lives, we don't realize it. Again, you would have to stop and think. I've spent some time this week thinking about it. I think I told you some time ago, that my mom and sister were just like this growing up. When my sister was growing up, she was young. My mom insisted that she wear a tight collar, and my sister, 8, 10 years old, was having no part of it. My mom was coercing my sister unbelievably to fighting over those clothes. That was her mission in life, is to get my sister to bend to her will. She had a terrible time, and my mom grew up as she aged, lover beyond description, and yet she had this issue with you had to do it her way. Had to do it her way. So there was that, and then she was very loving. It's both, so we both in. It's not judging, it's not a condemnation, it's just that was her paradigm and the way she approached childhood. She didn't do that to me. Luckily she ironed my blue jeans. So that's the school she came from. My father-in-law told me that he passed several years ago, but he told me that he was too demanding on Philip, his son, who died in his early 30s, about letting his hair grow. Generational bullying would be the term I would call that. A lot of parents in our generation harped on their children, their offspring, for wearing their hair too long or the hippie look or whatever it was, and just couldn't get out of that paradigm. When I was raising my two sons, my youngest son went through a stage where he would not listen to anyone or anybody, nothing. He was in his circle of friends. He grew his hair real long. His hair was good. I didn't have a problem with that, but he would not do his homework, and he was flunking most of his grades. He went through this for about 2 years. We were in some family counseling, and his mom was probably more. Her hair was kind of on fire, because of the anxiety that created, that our son wouldn't follow our directions. So we were in counseling, and the counselor said, "Don't say a word about his grades. Don't say a word about his studies. You're going to have to let him do it. If he falls, if he fails, you'll deal with that later. But you're not going to convince him to do it your way." He said, "Imagine this. Get this image in your head." And I've never forgot this. Imagine your son standing at a door with his hands and feet on the door facing, and you're trying to push him through the door. There's no way you can push him through the door. You can't coerce him, will him through, or threaten him even. You can't do it. He's not going to move. The counselor told us, but if you'll let him get down and walk through the door and lead the way, he will follow. Eventually he will follow. And he did, just not long after that. And he went 2 years in high school, almost flunking out, and he made straight A's in his junior and senior year. So we had to let it go and let him find his own way. It reminded me, Richard Rohr in his book, Falling Upward, says that the first half of our life is when we are preoccupied with establishing our identity, climbing, achieving, performing. But these concerns don't serve us well as we age. The new paradigm of our fallings and our failings can be foundational for ongoing spiritual growth, and that's what he says happens in the second half of our life. Most of us are in that. As a matter of fact, some of us are in the third part of that. But it's so true. We tend to have our eyes open and see differently, and we see that the failing is not, or the falling is not falling down, it's falling up. It's falling up. That's the title of the book, Falling Upward. So even in this book, Martha talks about giving tremendous amount of energy to overly influencing others. Her role in the community, her creed is to serve those who serve. So she serves ministers and Life Center Unity teachers and practitioners, and that's what she does. And she realized that she got it in the book, over-influencing. It was spending way too much energy doing that. And realizing that there's a way to be present with people without, forcing your will on them. In AA, most people that have been in AA, we always talk about walking our talk. So you can't force somebody, again, push them through the door, if they were bracing against it, but you can be an example and lead the way. So AA meetings are primarily about, it's always talked about the 12-step experience, sharing your experience, strength, and hope. It's not trying to offer advice even to fix somebody. We're not trying to coerce or will somebody. And I always say Bill W. was divinely inspired to come up with that idea to just show people the way with the 12 steps, show the way. So today, the idea of coercing and threatening, the other terms, I'll tell Martha about this next time I see her or talk to her. Her chapters could have been called "Don't Be Bullied" and "Don't Bully." If you're walking down the road and there's a bump underneath your foot all the time, you're probably standing on somebody's neck, and that's bullying. And we're not even conscious about it, or maybe that's what we used to be. Or used to do. So just be aware of our actions. This is all about intentions and awareness. It's not about judgment or criticism. It's just about being aware of our actions. There's nothing more today that goes with this example than our life on the internet, our life on even our phones. How many spam calls do you get a day or a week? How many calls do you get that are spam? Less and less and less for me, because we don't answer them and they tend to go away. But the aggressive tactics that they do, all these companies do, is definitely a form of cyberbullying to me. So I'll tell on myself here. There was just a few first of the month. There was I guess it was on Facebook. I don't say on. Oh, maybe it was just on YouTube. Mark Cuban. You know Mark Cuban? He's the coach of the owner of the Dallas Mavericks basketball team. He's also on Shark Tank. So he got on this video and said, "You need to get these CBD gummies." I never tried them, never knew anything about them. He said the FDC wouldn't let us, the Shark Tank, invest in it because all the pharmaceutical companies were raising Cain about this, what they were doing. You need to get on this, and you need to buy these CBD gummies. So guess what I did? I ordered them. Well, when I got them, I said, "Why did I do that? That's not what I want. That's not what I want." I don't even know the benefits. If you use them, maybe you can tell me about it. So I got them, and there was no instructions, nothing to say about them. It said take them for general purposes. It was a short bottle, and so I said, I'm not going to keep these. I'm going to return them. I spent the better part of 2 weeks writing emails saying I'm going to return these, and they spent at least they're answering me saying we don't do returns. We don't have a return policy. I said, you did when I ordered these. So it's just an example of the way we have to stay with it when we're, it's definitely a form of cyberbullying. So the middle of the week after all these emails, they finally agreed. So they're sending me a return authorization number, so I'll get the money back. It's a long battle to when stuff like that happens. This one is mixed. This example is mixed, and we could sit around and you could talk about these yourself. So I'm going to. I won't be here next Sunday. I'm going to Wednesday to go to Oregon for my son's, my granddaughter's wedding. My son's daughter's getting married, so we'll be in Portland for 6 days. So his mom, the same one I was talking about earlier, his mom, my ex, was trying to convince my son, and he just turned 50. He turned 50 the 1st of May. So she was trying to convince him to go on. I guess it's on her bucket list. I'm just getting it from him. But his mom wanted him to go on this cruise, Alaskan cruise. Since she was in Portland, she decided that's what she wanted to do. So she was going to do it by herself, and so she's been, there's no other way to turn, coercing, guilting, pushing him to go on this cruise with her. Now, on one hand, that seems to do something like that with your mom. You can make a case for that. But in this case, she's got a tiny room. I don't know if there's one bed. And as my son says, as he told me, they live in Portland. He and his family live in Portland, Oregon. You kind of know their bent, if you will. His mom lives in Tennessee, and you know her bent. They cannot talk to each other for much more than 5 minutes without, the polarization. And so he can't imagine being cooped up in the same room with her. He loves her. Again, this is the both and. You got to look at it both ways. So last week I asked him, or earlier this week I said, "Are you going?" I thought maybe she might coerce him into going. He said, "No, I can't do it." So but that's an example of what we do as parents too with our kids, without stopping to think and looking at our choices. One more that happened just this week. Young Sheldon. You ever watch Young Sheldon? Did you see? Do you think his mom was trying to coerce him into getting baptized? So the history of this, if you're not familiar with the series, 9 years old, he went to high school. He's a genius, obviously. Sheldon is from The Big Bang Theory, and this is about his childhood. Texas home. I always think of Ross because it's a Texas, small Texas town. So 9 years old, he goes to high school. 11 years old, he goes to college. And 14, he's getting ready to go to Caltech to be a physicist, a theoretical physicist. So he's getting ready. I won't give you any much more than that, because if you do want to watch it, spoiler alert. But his mom, Southern Baptist, always the dynamic of the family was always playing against the mom being Christian, a Baptist. There's a difference almost sometimes. Big difference. Big difference. And Sheldon was all the way from a little boy, said he didn't believe in God, but he believed in his mom. So they're so sweet. And his twin sister was always goading him about not believing in his God when mom's sitting there making them hold hands to do the blessing for dinner and all that. So that was the dynamics. And so she was all, teary-eyed about him leaving home. And she said, I want you to be baptized before you go. He went, no way. Well, long story short, he finally agreed to do it. But he walks out from the baptistery, and he's got a full-body wetsuit on. He's got knee-high boots, orange boots. Now, this is in the church. Everybody's sitting in the church. So he agreed to be baptized. Totally, he said it's totally against it, but he believed he did it for his mom. So, an example of what we probably don't want to do. That should not be our model. Although it's a both and again, because he didn't want to do it, but he loves his mom. So sometimes we do those things. When we acknowledge and live according to our own course, our own path, and allow others to do that for themselves, again, Bill read this little line, we suffer less, we live authentically in our wholeness. This is the goal of these tenets that we're looking at, these principles that we're looking at from Martha's book. Look at the patterns and be aware of your patterns. What are your choices about coercing others? How do we wake up to keep from doing that? What would it be like to stop doing that if you are doing it? And to stop trying to coerce, will, threaten, seduce, manipulate, and control other people to be different than who they are. So Martha says, and it's a paraphrase, in all organizations, whether it's organizations, family, refuse to be coerced. Whether it's family, with children, with everyone we meet. How would we be better off to stop that behavior? And then after we've kind of thought about this, don't coerce, it's the other side of it, the parallel track is refuse to be coerced. You can think of examples, all kinds of examples of that, of how we are and some really, really bad abuse, spousal abuse, home abuse, child abuse. That's a coercion to the max. Refuse to do it to others, and refuse of others to do it to you, and refuse others to do it to you. Take back your own responsibility and the power in your power for it. So there's a couple that I'm talking to now that is in the middle of that. Her husband, a young woman, her husband is a bully, almost self-admitted bully, always has been, and his dad is too. And so she is really struggling with how to get out of that. How do you get out of that? Still has some love, again, both and. But how do you get out of that? Now, you don't just snap your fingers and get out of it. But so she hasn't talked him into doing counseling yet, but she's doing it, and it's a process when we're with somebody like that. But it's still refuse to be coerced. Whatever you have to do, be yourself. Be your true self. Find that true self that you are and be yourself. Charles Fillmore wrote, this is a little bit of change of gears from our personal life to what we are as as a church, as a spiritual center. Charles Fillmore wrote, "Do not dogmatize in creed or statements of being as governing rule of thought and action for those who join your organization. These things are limitations, and they often prevent free development because of foolish insistence on consistency." Now, there was a Facebook chat that was going on about this, about what Charles Fillmore says. A statement of faith setting forth the teaching of a religious institution is essential, but compelling clauses should be omitted. Compelling clauses, and that came from his book, 12 Powers. So the question in the group then is, should we in Unity have a statement or purpose like a mission? You know, there's a lot of controversy going about that in a lot of churches. Should we coerce each other to believe a certain way? And Unity is so good because we have the freedom to be in the presence, to be in this presence and know what is true for me. We don't need a McDonald's in Unity where all the hamburgers are made exactly the same. We can all have a choice of how we believe. And we don't have to force that in our... So your membership card, if you're a member here, has on the back to be inspired and empowered by for personal transformation. That, you know, and I think we need to move to non-dual thinking. And if we're doing that, that's what we're here to do. And yet there's so many different versions of that, the way we can walk through that. So we embrace all these principles with open hearts and minds. We refuse to coerce others and refuse to be coerced. Stand in your own conviction and build the community, whatever organization, whatever community you are. Respect each other, respect and wholeness, and then so blessings on your journey of this self-discovery and transformation. So I've got one more thing to talk about. That's kind of the end of that. I promise to stay right there, but I'm going to keep going. So I have given to the Board of Trustees, after much prayer, contemplation, and discernment, I've made the difficult decision to resign as minister of... I wrote this down so I could read it. I wouldn't get upset, but of Unity Spiritual Center of Panama City. So this decision has not come easy. I deeply love and cherish this place, this community, and each of you. The transformative work we've done together, I think, serving as your spiritual leader and minister, has been one of the greatest honors of my life. The love, support, and kindness I have received from each of you and from the board have truly been overwhelming. My decision to step down is twofold, primarily twofold. One is to spend more time with family. And I juggle that now. It's not like I don't spend time with family, because you hear about my grandkids, my great-grandkids all the time. But it does take time away from, I'll allow it to take time from my family. So that's one. And most ministers will tell you that it's the balancing responsibilities as a minister in personal lives is a crucial part of the journey. And I feel the call to be more with my family for a season. And then second, in the discerning and prayer that I've done, I've come to understand that it's time for new fresh energy and vision to take this community to the next level, whatever that may be. So just as I have encouraged each of you to seek divine direction for your lives, I've asked myself, what is mine to do? The answer I've received is clear again. It is time for me to step aside as the minister in this church, in this spiritual center, and to work with the new energy or whatever that may be. And I view it as a continued evolution. It's not even anything but the evolution of where we're headed. We can talk about this a little bit more after during the social hour. There are many details to work out during the transition. The board is working on it very hard. I've worked. It's an interesting dynamics. Joanne Burns is now the transitional administrator for UWM. So we've had lots, and she's been a big success in that. So we're talking to her about what's next steps. There's a lot of steps going on. A lot of actions have already been taken. Nothing final to report because we're just starting the transition. And I encourage you to pull out your book, Finding Yourself in Transition by Eric Butterworth. You remember there's 3 phases to transitions: the ending, the void, and then new beginnings. The new beginnings don't happen immediately. We have to go through this process. Richard Rohr calls it liminal space, this kind of a void space for a few moments. So again, I'm working with the board. We'll do whatever you guys ask me to do. I'm not leaving town, so I'm around if nothing's going to break. Everything's okay. This is a natural evolution in churches, in unity, and right now it's even more so. A lot of spiritual centers, ministers are deciding to do other things, and it's just a natural evolution. We're okay. Everything's okay. I know by work with the board, you can trust the board. They're protecting this congregation. It's safe, so everything is safe, and this holds for me too. So I didn't make this decision lightly. I trust the divine presence is always guiding us to our highest good, whatever that is, and this holds true for me, and I fully believe it holds true for you as Unity Spiritual Center of Panama City, as we seek collectively and individually what is ours to do. Thank you for your love, your faith, and your unwavering support. Let us continue to move forward together in the light and love of the Christ within, trusting that Spirit will guide us in all that we say and do in this new chapter. So in the light and love of the indwelling Christ, namaste. No, I'll do it. Yeah.
It's now the time in our service where we give back. It's time for our offering. Eric Butterworth, in his book Spiritual Economics, says, considered in the broadest sense, prosperity is spiritual well-being. This involves the whole experience of healing life, satisfying love, abiding peace and harmony, as well as the sufficiency of every good thing. We acknowledge this divine presence that lives, moves, and has being in us as we say thank you. Thank you to all who have continued to contribute to this ministry. We will continue. If the Spirit is guiding you to give today, you can give here, or we can accept a check mailed to that address, or you can go online on any page in our website and hit the donate button. So if you have your gift in your hand, I invite you to put your hands together or over your heart as we say our blessing. Have the blessing on the screen, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. Could I ask the choir to return to the stage, please?
Our blessing song is I Am So Blessed. Please sing along with us.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you. All right. We're ready to end our service, and just want to say remember there's food, so everybody is invited to